Hi everybody, I'm Ron Jackson and I had the privilege of being ETS's Executive Director for 33 years, from the late 1970s to the early 2010s. That put me in the position of hiring and working closely with each of the four folks we're celebrating today. I'd like to thank Steve for giving me the opportunity to pay tribute to them in a few brief remarks. As you know, the lifeblood of any business is in the character of the people who work there. This is particularly true when that business is a human services provider whose mission it is to help people in need. To be successful in that mission, the agency needs to have professionals who are compassionate, steadfast, patient, reliable, and hardworking. These four fine individuals are the personification of such values and have been essential in the delivery of care to our patients and clients. Now, a little about each one of them, and I do have a time limit. When we were awarded the contract to provide case management services to people being served at the newly opening sobering center, I wasn't really sure how to go about doing that. I just knew that I wanted to take a harm reduction approach, compassionate pragmatism, as the late Dr. Alan Marlatt would describe it. So here comes Kelley, a chemical dependency treatment professional who understood and embraced that philosophy. The enormous success of REACH is attributable to the excellent work, leadership, mentoring, and staffing decisions made by her and Chloe Gale, whom I hired on the same day as Kelley. I needed to replace the previous staff psychiatrist who had moved on to another job. She had been at the agency when I got there. I was very concerned about my ability to find such a replacement, but thankfully, colleagues at the Seattle VA suggested Dr. Paul Grekin as a potentially good fit. As I said at Paul's retirement celebration, they were wrong. He was a perfect fit, both as a clinician and mentor, and then leader of the medical and dispensing staff as the agency's medical director. When I took over the agency, I had needed to do some serious house cleaning. As part of that effort, I needed to hire new counselors. Sue Bailey came for her interview, already highly recommended and with experience as a counselor in another methadone clinic. She too was a perfect fit and did many essential jobs at ETS. Intake assessments, running the reception desk, all of which she did with persistent goodwill. She was such a valuable worker that when we opened our clinic in Olympia, I asked her to work down there for a while to make sure that the things were on track. I don't think that South Sound Clinic would have survived those first few turbulent years without her efforts. Lastly, Carol Davidson. I really wanted another MSW on the counseling staff and was impressed with her educational and work experience, so I hired her. Little did I know what a rare jewel she was and how essential to the agency's operations and growth she would prove to be. When I could no longer serve as the agency's treatment director, I promoted her into that job. She was far better at it than I was. Carol was a tireless clinician and mentor to many counselors over her many decades at ETS. A calm presence in the many moments of crisis at the agency. She always kept the best interests of the patients as her guiding star. She gave her life to our agency and our work. I am profoundly appreciative and deeply grateful to all four of these wonderful people. Countless lives have been recovered and saved through their work. They have been a big part of the backbone of this agency for many, many years, and I will always hold them in my heart.